So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world. And welcome to another collaborative album review of The Shield Dude on a Couch. I haven't done this in a while. So, I'm joined today by Nick Sino. So, Nick, how are you, man?
I'm good, Hector. Thanks for having me on again. This is going to be fun.
Yeah. And today we're going to talk about a band that this is the first time I'm actually going to talk about this band in a full video. So, it's 311 with their new album Full Bloom, which this is the cover. This came out this Friday. So a little background on 311 for people that do not know 311. So they started in 1993 in Omaha, Nebraska, and this is their album number 14. Another impressive fact is that this band has never had a lineup change.
Yeah.
It's the original core members plus 30-year plus. And to me, that's huge. That's like hardly any bands have had that longevity and been together so long. And there's a lot of bands that started at the same time as they did, and they're no longer around. So this is a band that they have a free 11 cruise. They have a free 11 day, which is like they do their own concert on that day. So they're like this type of band that has like almost sort of like a cult following. If you like, well, not cult, that's how, but like a very dedicated fan base that's been through and through with them. And as you can see, I have a free 11 shirt because I
Nice.
saw them in concert and I am ride or die for free 11. So yeah, we're here to talk about this album, Full Bloom. And I have Nick here with me. So first, before we dive into the record, I want to know, Nick, what is your history with 311?
Well, I've always really loved 311. They've never really been like a kind of a full album band for me. I've always just probably taken away a few tracks here and there from throughout the discography. The big ones like Amber and You Wouldn't Believe and Down, I'll Be Here a While. Sunset in July is a good one. So I've always just been just a big fan of the songs I've heard on the radio and the songs that I've heard on streaming. And I think the thing about 311 I've always enjoyed is just they're very positive, uplifting vibe when you listen to them. The songs have always had that carefree reggae kind of island feel to it that has always really been enjoyable to listen. And like you're saying, that's crazy that they've had the same lineup since they formed. Like we talk about so many bands who they've lost this member and that member and this member. And for 311, they must get along really well and they must gel really well as people for them to be able to get along for this long without anybody quitting the band in anger or anything like that. So they're just always been a band that I've really enjoyed. I just think they're really, really enjoyable to listen to and just very, like I was saying, very positive and uplifting. And I just always love that about them.
Yeah, and if you listen to like because people will say, maybe they were uplifting all the time. No, they've always been like an uplifting band. And they started in the 90s in the popularity of grunge, and they're like a totally different band because like they mix reggae, rock, rap, and even some pop sensibilities into their sound. Like I once saw an episode of John Oliver where he compared the 311 to the Beatles of like rap rock.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, the Beatles, well, once they got going, there were just those four guys, right? The same with 311. It's just those five dudes in the band. So very much
Yes,
that kind of thing.
the same dudes in the band. And yeah, so my history with the band, I've been a fan since 1995 when they released the Blue Album, which is the self-titled 311. I remember I watched on MTV back in the 90s, they had these videos that they called Buzz Worthy, which meant like, oh, this is a band that you should watch. And 311's Down was on that. And I thought at that time, I liked the rap thing that they did, but unlike other bands like, let's say, Korn, Rage Against the Machine, that were so harsh and in your face and aggressive, this was kind of fun. Like you felt the positivity, and I really I was a fan instantly of 311. And they're a band that are consistent. They're not always the biggest or the one that sell the most albums, but they came out and they like when there were the No Doubts, the Sublimes, lots of bands, and they're still around. So yeah. So like I said, I'm a 311 ride or die fan
Yeah.
here.
T-shirt says it all.
Yeah, the truth says it all. So album number 14, 14 albums in 30 plus years. And very important, this is their longest gap in records because the last record that they released was Voyager in 2019. Before that, they had Mosaic in 2017, which I love. But this is an album, Full Bloom is an album that they come full circle because they have a new producer for this one. So they changed it up. I know they were producing some albums with Bob Rock, but this one was with by Colin Brittain, and also they got produced by Scott Ralston. But something I think this album like really reminded me of like a mixture of maybe Don't Tread on Me from 2005 with their latest stuff. Uh, I think there's less rap rock on this album than of
Yeah.
some of the past. And yeah, but it's interesting. It's a short affair. It's 30 song, no, 30 songs. It's 10 songs and like 31 or I think like 32 minutes. It's a
Yeah.
really short record. Uh so yeah, let's talk tracks. Nick, like what tracks did you enjoy from this record?
Well, the first one I really liked was the first track on the record and the first single they released, which is called "You're Gonna Get It." I really, really like this song. I was actually like listening to it in my car today, had it cranked up pretty loud because it has that really great riff in there. After the chorus, that is a really awesome, just heavy riff. I think 311's always had heavy riffs, but this felt just a little bit heavier. The guitar sound in this record is really great, and I've always just loved the lead singer Nick Hexum. I've always just loved his voice and his style.
He's so in shape.
Yeah, and he's such a good looking man for sure. So he's just like he's got everything going for him as a rock star. Good looking dude who sounds great. And I loved You're Gonna Get It. I thought this one was really, really great. And I added it immediately to my Spotify playlist when I heard it. So really like that. I really like the title track, Full Bloom, which I found had that signature 311
They
reggae
put a
sound.
new a music video for that one today.
Oh, okay. Nice. I'll have
Yeah.
to check that out. That's
Yeah.
definitely deserving of a music video because it was a great song. And the thing about the 311, we were saying they have 14 records that they've released over the years. And it's not like they're doing anything that's necessarily like revolutionary. They're not changing the wheel. They're not doing anything other than what they do really well, which is just write really fun, great rock songs. And that's what I enjoyed about this. They didn't pull any punches. They just played some great rock and roll music. And with this one, I felt like I was on vacation. It had that carefree vibe to it. I'm like, I got to listen to this record in the summertime when it comes out. When the summer comes back again. Like
Yeah.
because I got winter coming here in Canada. I know it might still stay relatively warm in Puerto Rico, but you
You
know,
know the funny thing about 311, they like to tour. I've always read that they like to record in the winter to tour in the summer, but on this one they
yeah.
released this album like near the winter. So yeah,
Yeah, coming out in October, that's okay, but I wish it had come out back in the summer because I would have been blasting it out
it
in the
feels like a
sunshine for
summer
sure.
record.
Yeah, big time. And I think in general, when you think about 311, they are like that quintessential summer band. They just have that vibe to them. And then the other one that I really liked, I pretty much liked the whole thing, but the other one that really jumped out to me that I really loved was Mountaintop, which sounded a little bit like a Chili Peppers song. It had almost like a Chili Peppers kind of riff in there, which
But
I thought was
I was
cool.
gonna ask you the beginning of the track. Didn't you want to see like I want candy? Like
A little
the
bit.
beginning, the
Dint,
beginning riff.
dint, 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 dint. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got a little bit of that feel to it for sure. And I thought the production on this album in general was really good. Like the guitar riffs sound super chunky, super thick on here. The drums and the bass are really punchy. And there was some really good bass on this song as well. So I thought like with most of the songs on this record, it sounded great too. Just everything sounded really balanced. It really jumped out of the speakers. And I think Mountaintop was definitely my favorite song on the record for sure.
Yeah, Peanut, the name of the bass player, he's a very underrated bass player. He's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
And
great.
I've seen these people, these 311 Live is just, they're a great live band. The only thing is, the venue I saw them was in Tampa, Florida. The the sound system there, I think the venue wasn't the best for the sound, so I was kind of pissed about that.
Mhm.
But yeah, they have a great sound. So those are the tracks that stood out for you.
Yeah, those are great tracks. And I think the whole record in general was pretty strong, but those are the ones that really, really jumped out to me. I
Yeah,
love Mountaintop. I think that was for sure my favorite.
yeah. So for me, this record, the lead single was a great single to put out. Usually, when 311 puts out singles, since I'm so well versed with 311, they usually put out like the more like energetic song first because like back in the days in the 90s in the Blue Album it was down. Then when they had sound system, they had the song Come Original. I
Great
don't know if
song.
you remember, like, come original, we got to
Oh
come
yeah. Oof.
original.
Great song. Yeah.
And
Classic.
you had in From Chaos, they had You Wouldn't Believe
Mhm.
with Shaq on the video. And the video for You're Gonna Get It, it reminded me of Fight Club.
Yeah.
Because they're fighting and Nick Hexum, like he does like exercises online
Mhm.
because the dude is ripped.
Yeah.
Like, so uh so I thought that was really great. And I thought the second single, Need Somebody, was also energetic.
Really.
I like it when the songs with 311 is Nick Hexum and you have S.A. Martinez
Mhm.
doing more of the rapping stuff, which I have some thoughts on my final thoughts on the rapping on this album for SA.
Yeah.
Full Bloom, I thought it was a great song. And when I started to it, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense because the first three songs of this album are really energetic. Uh, then you have a song, you have like the song, I thought the song Friend was good, but it was kind of weird. Like, will you be my friend? But yeah, it's positive. So, like, Nick, will you be my friend?
Yes. Yes.
So, so yeah, I thought that was good. Mountaintop, the bass again, pretty
Mhm.
cool. Uh, then I think after that, some of the songs at the ending they were good, but I felt like they needed more energy because they said in a press release that this was 311 on steroids. So I thought so it's gonna be like a more rocking album. It does that this album doesn't rock, but there's a whole lot of like reggae and chill vibes
Yeah.
to a lot
It's
of
a bit
these
softer.
records. I proposed that after this record, instead of saying let's Netflix and chill, people can say let's 311 and chill.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's make it
It's a
happen.
great makeout album.
Let's try it this weekend with our respective girlfriends, see how it goes.
Yes. I'll put it on. Yeah. I'll let you know how it
So
goes.
yeah, so I thought that track, there's a track where I thought when I was listening to it and I read wrong, I thought the name was Permission, but it's
Uh,
Persimmon or Persimmon, and
Persimmon.
I thought it was Permission. Did you get confused with that one as well?
Well, like I saw it. I'm like, persimmon is so that's it's an
I thought
edible
it
fruit.
said Permission.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I'd heard the word persimmon before, but I'm like, I didn't know what it was until I
I
just
don't know
looked it
what
up
that
right
means,
now.
but that track has one of the best clean guitar solos on the record.
Hmm.
That's another thing. 311 with their guitar, they can play some clean, beautiful guitar stuff. So yeah, I'm almost talking about all the tracks.
It was a good
Uh,
record. It's only
yeah,
30
it's a good
minutes long,
record,
right? So yeah.
and yeah, and Braver. I think it ends with a more rocking tune. So yeah, we talked about tracks. So Nick, what would you say like final thoughts? Like what would you rate this and some maybe some stuff that you think could have been better?
Well, I think this in general was a really good record, and I think it maintained that classic 311 sound while still being, really punchy, really catchy. Not a lot of bands when they're on their 14th album are still writing great songs. A lot of them really dip in quality, but I felt like, not that I know them as well as you, have listened to every album, but it seems like they've maintained their quality
I've
of
listened to them all.
songwriting. Yeah. Good quality of songwriting throughout the years, and I think this one is really, really good. You could argue maybe a criticism for this was that you could argue that they've been making the same music for the last 30 years. They haven't really
So has
gone outside of.
AC/DC.
Yeah, exactly. And that's there's nothing wrong with that. If you're writing good songs, I think if you stay within your style, as long as the songs are good, then I think it's all good. And like I was saying, I wish this album came out in the summer. Like this is a great summer rock album to cruise around to. It's really, really sunny stuff. And I always just have enjoyed, like we're saying, the positivity and uplifting nature of 311's music. Nick Hexum is a very good looking and talented lead singer.
Dude,
Yeah.
you're worrying me. You
Yeah. No, no, he's like, well, plus he's got a great name. And that's another thing too.
Nick
When
Hexum.
you got a Nick, when your name is Nick, you know that you're going to be a good singer in a band. So
Ah, yeah, yeah, Nick and Nick.
yeah, there you go. So for me, I'll give this record Full Bloom from 311. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed listening to
Four
this.
out of five. So for me, it's a I'm a huge 311 fan, and I don't think they've had a terrible album in their discography because there's albums that I like more here and there, but I can't sit here and say that 311 has an album that I would do for an Is It That Bad, because I
Mhm.
think they always have some quality in their records. I am glad that they did drop. They were doing on the last albums. They had some co-writers on songs that like they had a song and I think in the last album called like you make me feel good. That it was
Mhm.
too
Right.
poppy, and it kind of felt like too poppy. So on this one, I think they dropped that and they sound more like 311. This sounds like a mixture of uplifter with Don't Tread on Me,
Mhm.
which is more of their Don't Tread on Me is like one of their shortest records, and also Sunset in July, because they have a few records that
Right.
are shorter than some that they had like Transistor
Yeah.
in 1997, which was like it was a very long record. So yeah, you can tell that I'm a true fan uh,
Totally.
of
Yeah.
311. So uh, for this one, my only nitpick was that I wanted more of S.A. Martinez, man.
Mhm.
Like I could only hear him like in three songs. In You're Gonna Get It, Need Somebody, and Braver. Braver's the only track that is full S.A. Martinez doing more his rap stuff. On the other tracks, I think he's way in the background. And I think this album is too short. Like
Mhm.
two more tracks. They could have done like two more tracks, maybe a little bit of rocking tracks, and it still would
Oh
have
yeah.
flowed better. But it is a very solid record. I just wanted more of S.A. Martinez. But
Yeah.
having said that, I would also give it a 4 out of 5. I think it's a solid record. It's a fun record, and I also think that this should have come out in the fucking summer.
Too late. Yeah. Too
But
late in the year.
since I'm in Puerto Rico,
Halloween.
it's you know what, Nick? It's still in the 90s here. We're going
Yeah.
through a heat wave. We're supposed to be cooler now. So to
Yeah.
me, it would be the summer.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's been warm here too. Like where I am, like it was like 20 degrees, like 25 degrees Celsius last week. It was still warm, but now it's starting to cool down. So
kids, global warming is real.
yeah, for sure. Even here in
So yeah,
Canada.
but yeah, this album, it's pretty enjoyable, and I think it's for a band that's been doing it for 14 years and putting out quality material. And not just that, it doesn't sound phoned in,
No,
because
no.
a lot of bands like late in their career, they release stuff and it sounds shiny, like phony and fake. No, they sound 311 keeps it real. They do their thing. They never follow like trends. They've always done their own thing, and that's why I think I love them and respect them, because they've
Yeah.
always done their thing. And yes, they dipped here and there with some co-writers, but they mostly stay true to their core sound. Sometimes they're harder, and sometimes they're more reggae vibe. But I live in the Caribbean, man. I like reggae too, and
Yeah,
they're
for sure.
great at it.
Oh
Like
yeah. From
Like they're
Nebraska doing reggae.
Omaha Style, man.
Yeah.
That's an old song from the Grassroots Records.
Nice.
So, Nick, you should do a deep dive of 311.
Yeah, for sure. I will be one of those bands. It'd be fun to do a rock albums ranked. There'd be a lot of listening, but it'd be fun to rank all like 14
Oh,
albums.
yes, it will
Yeah.
be a lot of listening, but yeah.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, if I were me, I think they're the perfect band to go on a cruise. Like
Mhm.
311 cruise, that makes sense. That
Yeah.
music, like it makes sense for a cruise. And I have the DVD of one of their 311 days.
Mhm.
And when they do the 311 day, they play like 3 hour shows
That's awesome.
because they have so
Certainly have the
much
material
material.
for it. Yeah.
So much material that they can do it.
Yeah.
So we want to know from you, Couchers, what do you think of the new 311 album? Are you ride or die
Yeah.
311 fan like me? Or are you some of those people that say like that's not really rock?
Yeah.
We want to know what score would you give it and how would you rank it in the discography? I haven't done that as well because it would be hard. It's 14 albums.
That's a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot. So I want to thank Nick for joining me for this album review on my channel to talk 311. So Nick, what have you coming up on your channel soon?
Yeah, well, lots of stuff. Gonna talk a little bit about the Green Day American Idiot deluxe edition that they released this weekend. Talk a little bit about that on the channel, and then some more Oasis stuff coming up. Some albums. The albums are kind of slowing down a little bit now. It's I don't know if there's anything like there's some other big ones coming out for the rest of the year. We got
Oh,
Linkin Park,
I've
some other
reviewed
ones.
5 records for this weekend.
Oh, well, there you go. So it doesn't slow down for Hector. I'm trying to think of some big ones other than 311 and yeah, some other ones, but just yeah, kind of gearing up to get ready towards getting our year end list together and doing all that stuff. That's going to be tough, picking our favorite
Oh yeah,
records of the
and
year.
I have news for you, man. Uh, uh, the Skillet apparently won't be the last Is It That Bad for this year because I put a poll
Nice.
and people want an Is It That Bad for the new Linkin Park.
Oh, really? But like, yeah, is it? I don't know. Do you think it's automatically going to be bad just because they have the new singer, or
Well,
you know,
it's
we'll
kind
see.
of bland. So
Yeah,
I think it's going to be a divisive record. So,
yeah, we'll
uh,
see.
so yeah. So, and where can they follow you on the socials?
They can just follow me everywhere on every platform at Nick Chuno Music, even on TikTok, which is its own beast, but it's fun, I guess, on TikTok.
Yeah. So if you haven't subscribed to me, please do so. Coming up next on the channel this week, I have tons of interviews, but the interviews will slow down in November to December because, then less stuff's coming out. But there's a whole ton of interviews. This weekend, on Tuesday, I have a review of the new Pixies record
Oh, nice.
with Señorita Sabrosura and Cadriel from Puerto Rican black metal band Humanist.
Awesome.
So we're gonna do an album review for Pixies, and next week, there's a new Is It That Bad for Skillet. So again, thank you, Nick. So until next time, Couchers, this is Hector, the Shield Dude on a Couch, and we'll see you next time right here on the couch. Thank you and goodbye.